Ken Delaney for just one moment. Ken, you have some additional context to the news that you just broke earlier, and tell us what that is.
Yeah, Joy, I just want to make sure everyone understands, because this is an investigation into collusion with Russia. But there's also an element here about Mike Flynn and Turkey. If you recall, the former CIA director, James Woolsey, told the story first to the Wall Street Journal, then he confirmed it to MSNBC, that he was in a meeting, but this is before the election now, where he believed Mike Flynn was speaking to Turkish officials about removing this cleric, Fethullah Gulen, something that he thought looked very close to kidnapping, and he was uncomfortable with it. He reported it through an intermediary to then Vice President Joe Biden, and it was reported to the FBI. And we're also saying in our story that the FBI is looking into that element of it, and we are also reporting that the FBI and Special Counsel Mueller are examining whether Mike Flynn took any action after he took office as National Security Advisor to try to orchestrate the removal of this cleric. Now, don't forget, Mike Flynn was paid more than $500,000 to do some lobbying on behalf of the government of Turkey. This was a huge goal of the government of Turkey, was to get this cleric who lives in the Pocono Mountains back to Turkey, because Turkey believes he was involved in an attempted coup there. Now, that is disputed, and the Justice Department so far has not been willing to extradite this man. But that is sort of what, in part, this investigation is about, we are learning, Joy.
And it's important, Ken, just to stay with you just for a moment, and also within this story that Ken just broke on our air, that the special counsel believes there's enough evidence to potentially indict not just Mike Flynn, but also his son. Ken, there's also some reporting that you guys have in this story that Flynn's son, Michael G. Flynn, who worked closely with his father, accompanied him during the campaign, briefly worked on the presidential transition, could be indicted either separately or at the same time as his father, and that there's a potential that Flynn, the elder Flynn, could potentially cut a deal in order to get an easier deal for his son. Talk a little bit about that, if you could.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And, you know, NBC News has long reported that Michael Flynn, the son, is under scrutiny, is under investigation by the special counsel. He was essentially his father's right-hand man, his father's chief of staff. He accompanied him on that paid trip in 2015 to Moscow, where Michael Flynn Sr. spoke at a Russian state news media dinner on behalf of RT. And so both men are under investigation. It is not entirely clear whether charges are contemplated against one or both. We're sort of we're keeping that intentionally vague, because we believe that this is all in flux, and it's absolutely possible that Mike Flynn, feeling the pressure that his son may be charged, cuts a deal, and we see no charges either this week or in the coming days. Joy.
Indeed. Ken Delaney, and thank you very much for that reporting. We really appreciated the breaking news.